Welcome Crunchers back to Death Synchronicity City. I'm still killing the word, but it's like called something like that. It's a very good game. It's a very interesting storyline, very intriguing, crazy like perspective. Like, are people good? Are people bad? It's been like a big explosion of some sort. The world is going to shit, really. We're trying to survive.
Yes, the Great Wave. People have been telling me about it since the moment I woke up.
Everyone talks about it, but no one really knows what it is. Did you know that the catastrophe didn't just strike here, but all over the world? They keep us isolated and misinformed. But that's the truth. The Great Wave didn't just destroy this city. It affected the entire planet. And the most surprising thing is that it all happened simultaneously, at the exact same moment everywhere on Earth. Isn't that amazing? There's never been an official account of the catastrophe. They don't want to tell us. But at The New Truth, we know a lot of things they don't want us to know.
They? Who are they?
The elite, the army, the shadow government, whoever is in control at any particular moment. They're determined to maintain the power structures of the old world by any means. The irony is, for the moment, any notion of order or control is absurd. The rules of the game have changed completely, and the entire world is slipping through their fingers. They're disoriented and frightened, and they'll do anything to prop up the old system. That's what makes them so dangerous. But information weakens them, makes them vulnerable. And that's why we have to keep investigating, Michael. It's our duty to uncover the truth.
The Dissolved. That horrible disease.
Yes, the fate of those poor devils. That's the cruelest and saddest part of this story. From reliable sources, we've been able to find out that while it is true the Great Wave multiplied the number of dissolved drastically, a few early cases of dissolution were actually detected hours, even days before the catastrophe.
What? There were cases of the Dissolved before the Great Wave?
Yes, Michael. Just a handful of victims scattered across the globe. But the timing is significant. What's more, people have told us shocking stories about those victims.
I could tell you one. Colin, the only child of the family that took care of me in the refugee camp, is a Dissolved. Just a few hours ago, in a deep trance, he shouted out my name, insisting that he needed to talk to me. He kept saying that he wanted to give me a message from Emily.
Good God, Michael. And what was that message?
I don't know. I haven't had a chance to talk to him, but I will. His condition is very serious, and I have to hurry.
If only we had more information about the disease, what it is, where it came from. If only we knew a little bit more about those strange underground highways they talk about so much during their trances. We need more information. At The New Truth, all we have are a few eyewitness reports here and there, and a handful of tests for detecting the disease that we were able to steal from one of the cleanup brigades. And that's not very much when you're trying to put together a puzzle as obscure and complicated as this one.
Dead Synchronicity? What's that?
It's very difficult to explain, Michael. We're still so short of information. But I will tell you one thing. Time is running out. The Great Wave triggered a landslide of death and destruction that's accelerating by the day. And the end will be absolutely devastating.
Look around you, Chris. It's impossible for the situation to get worse.
If the theory about the approach of the dead synchronicity point is true, the future that awaits us will make everything we've seen up to now seem like a walk in the park, Michael. The arrival of the dead synchronicity point will mean the end of the world as we know it. The end of the laws of nature, the laws of physics, the very meaning of existence. And with them, of course, the end of the human species on the face of the Earth. Our inability to adapt will wipe us out in a matter of minutes. And indeed, in some cases, it's already happening. But the good news is that if this hypothesis is correct, the very nature of this anomaly could also allow us to reverse the situation.
Reverse the situation? You mean avoid the future you're talking about? Avoid the consequences of the Great Wave? Is that possible?
Of course it is. How can I explain it to you? No, not yet. It would be too complex for you to understand, and I don't want to create any false hope. I can't tell you anything more for the time being. We need more information, more sources, and we need them urgently. Time is running out, in every sense of the word.
I need answers too, Chris. Where can I find the information you need? How can I help you?
A few days ago, one of our confidential sources in the Army contacted the New Truth. He told us he had a bombshell in his hands, an official report of the results of all the investigations conducted to date on the Great Wave, the Dissolved, and the Dead Synchronicity Point. It's a real gold mine, Michael. The answer to our prayers.
And where is that report now?
The same day she left the note at your house, Sarah was supposed to meet our source at the same place we always meet people who cooperate with the New Truth, which had been the safest place in the city up to that point. The sewers. But she never came back, Michael. I was hoping she'd found you. Or perhaps some problem had come up in the sewers, and she'd taken refuge in your apartment.
Don't worry, Chris. Sarah will be fine.
Yes, I know. Sarah is a strong woman and very resourceful. I know she can take care of herself. If you want to help us, Michael, get us that report. I'm trapped in this basement in this wheelchair, but I know that you'll be able to get it for me. It's vitally important that we get it. That's where we'll find the answers to all our questions. Even answers about Emily and her messages. Follow the trail of Sarah and our source. Go down into the sewers and find some clue that can lead us to them. But be very careful down there. It's dangerous.
Dangerous? You just told me the sewers were the safest place in the city.
Indeed, they were. That's why they became the perfect hiding place for the Dissolved and their families. For some time now, the Army has been reinforcing its dragnets for catching the Dissolved hiding in the sewers. If they find you in one of those tunnels, they'll shoot first and ask questions later.
I'll be fine.
Take this. You'll need something to guide you. The city sewer system is a veritable labyrinth. I've marked the exact spot where the meeting was supposed to take place. It's a huge subterranean gallery where several pipes converge. Michael, please, bring me that report. And for the love of God, bring Sarah back to me safe and sound.
I'll do it.
So where a lot of pipes converge.
It's a map with handwritten notes, describing how to get to Sarah's meeting place with her source. Without this, walking through those tunnels would be a rather dangerous waste of time.
Roger that, roger that. Alright, I know exactly where that sewer is.
Locked with a key. I'm afraid that Chris doesn't trust anyone, and the way things turned out after the Great Wave, he's doing the right thing. A huge old trunk. Looks like it weighs a ton. The layer of dust on top suggests that it hasn't been opened in a long time.
We have a crowbar.
It belongs to Chris. Although I could open it with this crowbar, I have no intention of breaking the lock on this chest. What kind of friend would do that?
That's true. That's true. That's true. Let's see what we have here.
The entire basement is filled with books, albums, file cabinets, and photos. You can even find the odd exotic object in all this. Sarah and Chris accumulated enough material to fill a museum of curiosities. The walls and arches in this basement look as thick as in a cathedral crypt. I suppose that this, plus the fact that we're underground, explains how the New Truth office is still in such good condition after the Great Wave.
Let's see what we have, guys. There's gotta be something here, right? What's that? Really?
Mythology, parapsychology, history, anthropology, cutting-edge scientific material. The subject matter of the books packed in this basement is as varied as it is disconcerting.
Oh, so much stuff here. There's gotta be something here.
The entire basement is filled with books, albums, file cabinets, and photos. You can even find the odd exotic object in all this. Sarah and Chris accumulated enough material to fill a museum of curiosities.
Yeah, I want it all. Give me all the loot. Damn it.
Mythology, the subject
What's this?
covered with scrawled notes, open books, and dirty coffee mugs. I get the impression that Chris lives, works, eats, and sleeps at this enormous desk.
So guys, there's gotta be loot here. I can smell it. I can't use the crowbar for the desk.
While I can't remember her clearly, looking at this photograph gives me a pleasant sense of tranquility. I'm sure Sarah and I were very good friends before the world collapsed.
I like the sprinkle sounds. Okay, so that's the picture. Oh, what?
My lord, I'm completely exhausted. I feel like I've been wandering around this new world for centuries, but I can't stop to rest now. Not until Chris and I have uncovered the secrets in that army report. A beat-up armchair covered with patches. It's funny. It's pretty tatty, but it looks extremely comfortable. Dozens of documents and newspaper clippings about conspiracies, attacks, inexplicable occurrences. Looking at the topics of all this material, I can imagine what the editorial line of The New Truth is.
Wait. Does it change? Notes and newspaper clippings. It's the same. Wow, there's nothing here. That is so strange.
I don't quite see how I could use this here.
Okay. Wanna cut it open?
I don't see how I can use the tooth fragment with this.
Okay.
It doesn't seem like a good idea. It's Chris. Nowadays, the only person I think I can trust. He's waiting for me to find and bring him back that report that promises to reveal a lot of secrets about this new world. And to do that, I first have to find Sarah and her source. Chris, I need you to refresh my memory of a few concepts.
Oh, we do have
What
new
do you at
stuff.
The New Truth know about the Great Wave?
Everyone talks about it, but no one really knows what it is. Did you know that the catastrophe didn't just strike here, but all they keep the great at the there's no but at
That-
They.
We always.
Who are they?
the root they're just that, but in and
Blah 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 blah. Alright,
I
so
won't bother you anymore.
We know all this. Okay, let's go to the sewers. Let's see here. This one's going back. This one's going over there. At the park, there's a manhole that we can go into. There, manhole. Let's go down because we have the flashlight now and it works.
Wait a minute. I'm not going to climb down any further. It's totally dark in there, and it would be crazy to go into these sewers without any light.
Dude, you have a flashlight right here. Jesus.
Here goes. I'll use the map Chris gave me as a guide. These tunnels are a real labyrinth.
Figure it out.
This is the place marked on the map, the place where Sarah and her confidential source were found.
Very nice.
The underground rivers that carried the sewage and garbage from Doomsday City lead here.
There's trains
If I ever
working?
thought I couldn't fall any lower, this place helps me remember how mistaken I was.
That's amazing.
This is where that river of filthy water ends. It's funny. Despite the nauseating stench it gives off, there's something hypnotic about that viscous green waterfall.
What is that?
It's a shoe, trying to stay afloat in the stinking sludge of the sewer. From here, it looks like a castaway waiting for help. It's of no use. I'm afraid that there's not much I can do for it now.
No. We want that shoe.
First, I'd need a proper hook for this fishing line.
Shit.
Even so, I don't quite see why I'd want that shoe. They gleam like gold nuggets, illuminated by the light that enters through the ceiling. These empty shell casings are evidence that a shooting occurred in these sewers. They wouldn't be of any use to me. These bullets have already been fired.
Yes.
Dozens of dark tunnels converge in this area, most of them closed or inaccessible from here. This place must be the true subterranean heart of the city. There's a very familiar sound coming from the depths of the tunnel behind this grate. It's a subway train. I don't get it. If they boarded up the subway stops and shut down the subway service, what the devil are those trains carrying? And where are they going?
I'm surprised they're actually working.
I bet it would be easier to try to slim down enough to fit through these bars than to use the crowbar here. The bars are incredibly thick. I'm not going to be able to budge them.
Alright, so we need a hook to get that thing. Is there anything else?
The underground rivers that carried the sewage and garbage from Doomsday City lead here. If I ever thought I couldn't fall any lower, this place helps me remember how mistaken I was.
Good. I'll come back for you, Shu. Oh, we're on the other side of this thingy. Oh my god. What did you get?
I've been able to remove some of the waste, but I won't be able to remove the rest of it with my hands. This stuff is too snarled up. There's something else in there in my heap of trash. Oh, Jesus. The stench is nauseating. I've been able to remove some of the waste, but I won't be able to remove the rest of it with my hands. This stuff is too snarled up. Alright. Let's see what the devil's so tangled up in here. My God! Sarah!
Oh shit.
A bullet's torn off her jaw. But her face is still recognizable. Poor Chris. How am I gonna break this to him?
Sarah's corpse.
One bullet hit her in the jaw, and another went through part of her neck. There's no doubt that Sarah bled to death while using the last of her strength, trying to drag herself out of here. A flash drive. It's sticking out of the corpse's clenched fist. Sarah is holding on to it for dear life, even in death.
A flash drive? What the hell is a flash drive? Jesus Christ, it was like hard to find. This game is like very challenging sometimes to find
Oh
stuff.
my God. After being exposed to water and dampness for so long, Sarah's remains are positively Dante-esque.
Oh, that was a fancy word.
I'll take good care of it. This piece of plastic was the motive for Sarah's murder. That's how little human life is worth in this hellhole.
Alright.
It's my tour guide and my journeys to the underworld.
Let's go back to the newspaper guy. I don't know. Could we use that? No. Use that for that.
I'm afraid these two technologies are totally incompatible. That wouldn't serve any purpose. This plastic bag is designed to hold the remains of the dissolve, so I'm not putting that inside there right now. I can't use these two objects together.
Guess not.
I don't see any way to use a GPS with that.
Wait, use the GPS for this?
Impossible. The GPS map only shows the city at street level. There are no indications of what's below it on this device.
Let's go back to the newspaper dude. Tell them the bad news. What the hell was the newspaper dude? Oh shit, I don't know, man. Ooh, that's new. Ah, okay. Hey, buddy. Have bad
Hello,
news,
Chris.
man.
Michael, you're back already? Tell me, did you find Sarah? Did you bring the report she went out to get?
Well,
Brought the report. Here it is.
Oh, that's great news. I knew you could do it. Ah, damn it. I should have guessed. I was expecting a paper dossier, not an electronic document. We have a serious problem, Michael.
Problem? What's wrong?
We're not in the old world anymore, and access to electricity is a privilege very few people have nowadays. The good news is that I was able to save my old laptop from the Great Wave.
oh, yes, yes, yes. Well, we need to get power, so, right? Unless there's still
The
battery.
bad news is that we don't have anywhere to plug it in.
What can we do?
If we want to find out the secrets in this report, we need electricity. Bring me a generator with enough fuel, and we'll find all the answers we need, Michael. But tell me, please, did you find Sarah? Why didn't she come back with you? What happened?
Well,
Don't worry, Chris. I found plenty of indications to think Sarah is safe and sound.
What indications?
It seems there was a shooting in the sewers, and that Sarah and your source escaped unharmed. They fled through one of the grates in the sewer network, through an outlet near the refugee camp, and they hid the report there for us to find.
They left the report there, you say?
Yes, and now they must be hiding until things calm down a bit. I'm sure Sarah will be back in a few days.
Yes, she'll be back in a few days. That's what I figured. Thank you, Michael. You're a true friend. Now, get me that electric generator. Time is running out.
and I know exactly where that generator is. The only problem is, I don't know how to get it, but we're gonna figure it out.